Imagine the vast expanse of continental Eurasia as a giant teapot. At opposite ends, two handles reach out into the sea, the British Isles and the Japanese archipelago. On these two island groups sit the two most powerful island nations on Earth, the United Kingdom and the state of Japan. At first glance, the two countries couldn't seem more different. Geographically, they are 10,000 kilometers apart, with nearly a quarter of the Earth's circumference between them. Religiously, Japan is primarily Shinto and Buddhist, while the UK is mostly Christian. Culturally, Japan values tradition and group harmony, whereas the UK emphasizes individualism and personal freedom. Racially, Japan is largely homogeneous, while the UK is multicultural, with diverse ethnic groups. On the surface, it seems these two nations are quite literally worlds apart. But look closer, and you will discover that these two distant nations share far more in common than meets the eye. Both retain their monarchies, maintain similar political systems, and have complicated relationships with the mainland. They were both once mighty maritime empires, dominating their parts of the world with powerful fleets. Britain's Industrial Revolution and colonial enterprises like the East India Company find striking parallels in Japan's Meiji-era modernization and the rise of its state-guided corporations, such as the South Manchuria Railway Company. Both countries drive on the left side of the road, are known for formality and politeness, have immensely successful pop cultures, and make great whiskey. Even in architecture, the similarities are undeniable. But how did two island nations, so far apart, end up so alike? What lessons can we draw from their parallel paths? What has been the secret behind their rise to power and prosperity? And why is it a formula that other island nations like the Philippines or Indonesia can never replicate? In this project, we will journey to both the UK and Japan to explore the deep-rooted connections between these two islands. We're gonna find that thin line that ties them together and study how it led them to synchronize. From the early alliances, through the rivalries during the war, to the present-day partnership in the Indo-Pacific, we will dive into the forces that shaped them. Through the lens of Japan and the UK, we will look for the secrets that allowed these smaller, insular nations, separated from vast continents, not only to survive, but to rise and influence the course of global history. This project will take 3 to 6 months to produce. There will be 3 episodes in total, and it's gonna be expensive and difficult to produce. This was once the heaviest and most powerfully armed battleship in history, Yamato, the flagship of Japan's combined fleet. Yet, instead of being known for its military strength, having served less than 3 years and fought only 4 battles before sinking, it became famous for its lavish accommodations. The Japanese navies from smaller battleships back then even mocked it as the Yamato Hotel, which leaves outsiders like us wondering, was the Yamato Hotel really a thing, or is it just a myth? By now, I've probably got your attention and you've decided to do a quick search on Google, only to find there's no hotel by that name in Japan. Well, that's because you're mistaken on 2 counts. First, the Yamato Hotel wasn't that single hotel. Second, it wasn't even in Japan. The Yamato Hotel was actually a super high-end hotel chain operated by one of the largest companies to have ever existed in Japanese history, the South Manchuria Railway Company, SMR, the de facto ruler of Northeast China for almost 4 decades. At its peak, the Yamato Hotel chain had at least 14 hotels scattered across Northeast China. However, only 8 survived the turmoil of the 20th century. 2 in Dalian, 2 in Lushun, 1 in Shenyang, 1 in Fushun, 1 in Changchun, and 1 in Harbin. As of 2025, 5 of these hotels are still in business, while 1 has been turned into a museum and the other 2 are now military property. If you have the chance to visit one, like I did, you will be struck by their class and style. Some of these former Yamato hotels, now over 120 years old, remain among the most beautiful hotels I've ever seen. And they are so significant that some of the world's most influential figures, from China's last emperor Puyi to Chairman Mao Deng Xiaoping, and even Soviet General Secretary Nikita Khrushchev have stayed here. So the question arises, what kind of company was SMR? Why was a Japanese railway company running a luxury hotel chain outside of Japan? And why is it that you have never heard of it? For this project, we're heading to northeast China to visit 4 major cities: Dalian, Shenyang, Changchun, and Harbin, along with some smaller yet critical cities. We will unveil the mythical SMR, do a lot of interviews, and revive a chapter of history that neither China, Japan, nor Russia likes to talk about, one that is rapidly being forgotten. We will take a deep dive into the Japanese past of northeast China, the rise and fall of Manchukuo, visit all 8 surviving Yamato hotels, and spend the night in some of them. I mean, some people collect stamps, some people collect Disneylands, and Jingwu collects Yamato hotels in northeast China. We all have our thing. Anyway, we will also explore many surviving Japanese buildings, infrastructure, shrines, banks, and hospitals, telling their stories along the way. Ultimately, through the South Manchuria Railway Company, I'd like to present to you a unique case of how sometimes the tools of colonialism, SMR, despite its demise, live on through its bones and flesh, and still play a vital role in northeast China. The production will take 3 to 6 months, and we will release 3 episodes. Since the project will be filmed in China, it's going to be easy and cheap to make. This is Shandong Peninsula. With an area of 73,000 square kilometers, it is the largest peninsula in China. Just 100 kilometers away lies the Liaodong Peninsula. With an area of 29,000 square kilometers, it is the 2nd largest peninsula in China. Below Liaodong is the largest peninsula in East Asia, covering an area of 223,000 square kilometers, more than double the size of both Shandong and Liaodong combined, the Korean Peninsula. These 3 peninsulas are among the closest of their kind in the world, both geographically and culturally. And between them stretches a body of water with a deceptively simple name, the Yellow Sea. In East Asia, people tend to be very practical when naming places. When they build a city on a piece of flatland, they name it Pyongyang, which literally means flatland. When they build a city by an estuary, they name it Eido, meaning river door. When they build a city by the ocean, they name it Shanghai, or on the ocean. And when they see a sea that appears yellow due to the vast deposits of lowers carried by the Yellow River, they name it Huanghai, Huanghe, or Huokai, simply the Yellow Sea. For millennia, the Three Sisters and the Yellow Sea have been geopolitical hotbeds, perhaps the most important region in East Asia. Looking at the map, it's easy to see why. The Yellow Sea marks the frontier for all 3 major East Asian civilizations: China, Korea, and Japan. The geography makes conflict inevitable. But the drama in the Yellow Sea goes far beyond what we might expect. Because you see, the sea is critical not only to the Chinese, Koreans, and Japanese, but Europeans from the other side of the world also established bases here to gain a foothold. The British controlled Weihai for 32 years, the Germans ruled Qingdao for 16 years, and the Russians held Dalian and Lushun for a total of 15 years. And let's not forget the Americans. They still maintain 2 military bases directly on the Yellow Sea, one in Incheon and one in Gunsan. These foreign powers left lasting impacts, influencing both the economy and culture of the region. With all these competing powers, an obvious question arises. Why and how did the 3 peninsulas make the Yellow Sea so crucial? For this project, we will take 3 boat journeys across the Yellow Sea. First from Weihai to Incheon, then from Incheon to Dalian, and finally from Dalian back to Weihai. Along the way, we will explore the rich and complex history of these 3 peninsulas, uncovering the untold naval wars, alliances, and stories that have shaped this region. We will also see how Confucianism was born and took firm root here, how East Asian moral and political order was laid, and why controlling all three is crucial to dominating East Asia. Ultimately, through the lens of the Three Sisters, we will investigate the fundamental logic of the Yellow Sea, and how the unique geography of these peninsulas has shaped their fates and continues to dictate their destinies. The production will take 3 to 6 months, and we will release 3 episodes. It will be neither too difficult nor too expensive to make. This is the map of China, including all its disputed territories. The country is officially divided into 34 province-level administrative divisions, 23 provinces, 5 autonomous regions, 4 municipalities, and 2 special administrative regions, SARs, Hong Kong and Macau. These 2 regions are indeed special in every way imaginable. They have their own flags, financial systems, legal structures, and even passports. To give you an idea of just how different these passports are, here are the stats. As of 2025, a Hong Kong passport grants visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to 174 countries and territories. A Macau passport grants access to 148, while a mainland Chinese passport only allows access to 82. In essence, Hong Kongers and Macauese may be Chinese citizens, but they live in a reality that's worlds apart from the mainland. Located on opposite sides of the Pearl River estuary, these are 2 of the smallest cities in China. Hong Kong, made up of dozens of islands and peninsulas, covers just 1,106 square kilometers and has a population of 7.5 million. Macau is even smaller, it's 33 times smaller than Hong Kong, with a population of just 680,000. Looking at these 2 tiny dots on the map, some questions must be answered. What makes Hong Kong and Macau so unique and irreplaceable that even the immensely powerful China must concede and grant them such privileges? Well, the short answer lies in their European colonial past. Hong Kong was administered by the British since 1841, while Macau was under Portuguese rule for even longer, beginning in 1557. But these are just dates and facts that anybody can look up online. At Jingwu Show, we don't do Wikipedia geography and history. That's for the AI to handle. Instead, we bleed, we toil, we suffer, and we sweat to ask great questions and to get real answers. What are these cities really like? Where do the people come from? What hidden stories and forgotten pasts lie beneath their modern facades? How have Hong Kong and Macau not just changed, but revolutionized China? For this project, we're traveling to Hong Kong and Macau to explore these dreamlike cities. From towering skyscrapers and neon-lit casinos to bustling streets, we will experience the pulse of these dynamic regions. We will revisit their Portuguese and British legacies and examine their historical influence. We will uncover wartime and post-war stories of these cities, diving into darker histories from human trafficking and smuggling to the power struggles between influential families and the North Korean agency. We will also discuss the unique legal and financial systems, as well as the intricate network of Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau Greater Bay Area. Ultimately, through these 2 SARs, we will explore how sometimes the smallest places, the edges of empires, can shape the fate of the world's largest civilizations. This project will take 3 to 6 months to film and produce, and it won't be too difficult or expensive. After our time in Hong Kong and Macau, let's head northeast for about 1,200 kilometers to another megacity with a similarly convoluted past with the Europeans, Shanghai. This is China's largest and most populous city, home to 30 million people. Shanghai is a city of extremes. It's the busiest port in the world, hosts the largest stock exchange in Asia, generates 4% of China's GDP, and is home to the world's longest and busiest metro network. But Shanghai isn't just about modernity. Walk through the city, and alongside those skyscrapers, you will find ancient Chinese temples, century-old Russian bakeries, authentic European department stores, Stalinist architecture, and beautiful British and French buildings lining the Huangpu River. These are not recent additions. Many are over 120 years old. Shanghai is not only one of the richest and most advanced cities globally, but it is also the most international city in China. About 1/4 of all foreigners living in mainland China call Shanghai home. It's so global that in the English language, Shanghai is not just a noun, but also a verb. Now, I'm sure you have seen plenty of documentaries, vlogs, and films about glamorous Shanghai and how crazily important it is to the world. That's why in this project, I won't focus too much on the city's modern exterior. Those high-rises you see are merely the latest leaves and fruits. Let me remind you of this. Shanghai has been the fanciest city in China, not just for the past 40 years, but for the past 140 years. What I really want to focus on is the interior of Shanghai, the roots and foundation of its strengths. Who were the first builders of its industrial and financial backbone? What policies allowed it to evolve into the global powerhouse it is today? And how did Shanghai, once a fishing village and port town, become this? For this project, we will explore Shanghai's European past, study the treaties that made it, walk through the French concession and international settlement, and visit century-old Western-style homes that are still standing and for sale. We will demonstrate how Shanghai helped industrialize China and how it became a haven for Russian and Jewish refugees in the early 20th century. We will also explore how Shanghai was destroyed during the war and the price it paid for its rebirth in New China. Through the lens of Shanghai, I want to challenge you with this question. While colonial domination often oppressed and extracted wealth, can exploitation also plant the seeds of development and lay the foundation for empowerment? The project will take less than 3 months to produce with 2 episodes, and it will be cheap and easy to make.